Welcome back to my channel. My name's Corey and I'm the Drywall Tech. Today's job was a good one. Actually, it wasn't that good. It was just a normal run-of-the-mill type job for me, but this one was a 350. Took about 1 hour. We did talk quite a bit, and I always end up having these conversations with the homeowner that I'm a very talkative person, so just kind of gets going sometimes. But anyways, this one was 350 bucks. We have a patch at the top and a patch at the bottom. Now, this one involves cutting it to make it a square, putting new insulation in, adding some backing, meaning 1x2s or 1x3s, and then some new drywall, and then hang, tape, texture to match. First things first, let's get this plastic down. Now, a lot of people, ask me what kind of plastic I use, and in most of the videos, I'm having the Dunn Edwards 0.5 mil plastic, but this one is the 0.75 mil from Husky. They didn't have I went to Sherwin-Williams, and they don't have that plastic, so I really don't like getting this one. Even though it is a good, weight to it, a good thickness, but it's so big. It's just a big roll. I don't really like having that in the truck. I'd rather have the smaller rolls. And if anything, if I have a big roll, it's the 1.5 mil. But anyways, we get the floor down, cover any holes we got. And because we got some dark floors and it's so close to the door, we are doing what I call a runner. Now, you could use tarps, and that's totally fine too. But I like putting the plastic runner down because then you just, roll it up in a ball and you get it out. Where the tarps sometimes, and I've had this happen before, I've had a customer, basically say, I don't want that dirty tarp in my house. That's been in a bunch of people's houses. So I've ran into that a couple times. So I like doing the plastic runners unless you got fresh tarps and you're painting. But now let's get these tools going. If you know me and you've seen my videos, you know I love this Makita saw. It's perfect. It sets the blade, to a certain depth, so you don't have to worry about hitting wires, hitting pipes, all that good stuff. So the only downside is that the blades are a little expensive. So just be aware if you do buy that. But I got the link in the description for all the tools I use in this video. They are Amazon affiliate links, so check them out if you can. And let's get to cutting. Now, if you're asking why I cut it back, because that drywall that was in there was kind of brittle, and there's actually a big piece of baseboard in there for some backing. You can kind of see it right there, but someone had already repaired it previously, so I wanted to take it out, make sure I cut it back to get a nice, fresh piece in there. And that's just how we do. And now, since I did cut it past the stud, I am now cutting it back a little more so I get some backing in there, so everything is nice and sturdy. But man, this thing cuts pretty easily. If you do drywall repairs like myself, quite a bit, I would definitely recommend getting one. I've had that one for years. That specific one that you see, I've had it for 6 years? 6 years? I'm pretty sure it's been about 6 years. I remember buying it when it first came out. Definitely one of my favorite tools. So now we're just getting it, ready for the new drywall. Cutting out the bad stuff, getting the screws out, getting the nails out. Then we'll get the insulation in there. So I'm measuring drywall right now. I don't measure exact. I usually measure a little bit less than the exact tight measurement, because you can always fill it in with some mud. Apologize for the hair in the screen right now. If you see that hair flying around, it's obviously not mine. I don't got much these days, so I'm not sure how that got on there. But now, if you saw me in this, I cut the recessed edge off. I went 3 inches down and cut that. That's it right there when I threw it in the truck. I cut that off because I want the patch, the thickness to be thick all the way around. where on that recessed edge part it does drop a little bit. So I cut that off so when we put the piece of board in there, it's less mud to fill around the patch, because there's already mud on there, there's texture mud on there. So when you get that board in there without the recessed edge on there, it ends up being pretty tight to where you don't have to float out too much. Don't forget to take those nails out. It's happened a million times to me. I put the drywall up, start screwing it, don't understand why the board's not going in, and it just cracks it. This is a little trick you could use if it's a tight area like this, you can't get that 1x2 in there. You put a little screw on the end, and you can use that to hold it tight. If you can't get your fingers in there, you use it to hold it tight while you're screwing in your backing. And as always, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for me. You know, honestly, I just like reading everybody's comments, and if you're getting something from this, just keep watching. I'm gonna put out some more content pretty soon here on some kind of like of my more how-to type of videos. People have been asking me, and you know, I don't know, I guess I do things a little bit differently than some people do, so I want to kind of dive deeper into, you know, how I mix pans, how I mix my texture mud, just how I'm doing things as a repair guy. Put a little one in the edge right here, because you know, you just want to make sure everything's tight. You don't want anything cracking on you. Now I'm measuring for the insulation. Bring that saw out because we're done with that. Got the fresh roll. Put the bucket there because you do not want that roll rolling away from you. It's happened a million times to me. Just cut it with the knife and shove it in there. It's as easy as that. Kind of always cracks me up when people ask, "Oh, do you do the insulation? Do you install the insulation?" And I said, "Yeah, can I cut a piece and put it in the wall for you?" Sure can. Now this is 1/2-inch board. Pretty much always carry 1/2 inch on the truck. Here in Arizona, 5/8 is typically only in the garage. So, when I was in Texas and California, 5/8 was on every ceiling. Here in Arizona, it's 1/2 inch on the ceilings. I know, it's crazy. Don't understand why, but it is. Now you gotta get the gloves on before we start mixing. You know, like my gloves. For all you that started wearing them, I'm glad you're wearing them. So, get that sponge, put that sponge full of water in there. That's a bag of my 5-minute. Y'all know I like my 5-minute. Now there's nothing wrong with using 20-minute. I just like my 5-minute. Gets it done quicker. Get in and out, especially something like this where the patch is right next to the door. I will tell you, I did use 20-minute the other day. Almost for the whole day. I was so tired and exhausted. You know, using that 20-minute after using 5 every day, it's just like taking a long break. But it was nice because I was tired. But once you learn that 5-minute and you can get it working with you and you learn how to use it, you'll be making that money. So this is first coat, and since it is right next to the corner, I will take it all the way to the corner. And I'm just floating it out and bringing it out, getting that nice first pass on it. And as you start doing this more and more, you just kind of start to see and, you know, feel the areas that may need a little more mud, a little less mud. And you just, you know, also too, when you're looking at it, you can see the texture kind of showing through. That's showing you how thick and not thick your mud is throughout the patch. So you're kind of looking for that, you know, consistency throughout as you're putting that first coat on. And you want to leave some on where you can, and take it off where you need to take it off. But Once you start getting better at this, you can leave it on in certain areas, so when you come back and you scrape it, that can be it, especially with the 5. 20 shrinks more than the 5-minute. So for all you that are, don't like when I do one coat and I texture it and you say it's going to shrink, it doesn't. I go back and I paint them quite a bit. But just be aware, when you're first starting out, I would just do one tight pass on it to lock down the tape, and then come back with another pan and do the same thing, another tight pull on it, and then come back after you wash it and check it, see how it looks. See, this is already starting to set up, so I kind of, while I'm in there, I'm basically, adding and scraping and smoothing down and really trying to get this thing, tight before I head out to wash it. And then go wash your knives and pans, because that stuff dries up quick. When you're washing the pan, set the pan on the bucket, and when you get the water in the pan as you're wiping down, that water goes back in the bucket. I know it seems kind of like a given, but I was trying out a new guy the other day, and he was washing the pan outside of the bucket, splashing water everywhere. What up, Joe? So now you come in, you sponge those edges first, always, for the most part. And that way too, it also, lets you know if the mud is drying correctly. So I'm getting in there, I'm sponging it down, adding some moisture back into the mud. And then that's my 12-inch knife, taking my 12 and going through and just kind of get that nice, even scrape on it. Just filling it out as I'm scraping it. Seeing where I need to scrape it. How hard I need to scrape it, how much I need to take off. Then I'll take my 6 and do the same thing. Go through it. I know it's hard to tell because it's, sped up ×2, but I'm barely pressing on some of these parts, and some parts I'm pressing pretty hard. And you can see all the mud I'm taking off. Now, if this was a spray texture, I would combine both those patches into one big patch and spray that whole section. But with the skip we got in Arizona, it's pretty much, I think, the easiest texture to blend in, especially once you get it down. So I did notice a couple areas that needed one more tight pull, so I went ahead and mixed up one little tiny pan of 5-minute. Now my uncles, who are in their 70s now, they come through and do a tight pull of like AP or lightweight on every patch that they do. Kind of like what I'm doing here, just a tight pull. Fills in the highs, fills in the lows, but they do it on every single patch, their last coat. Very tight, and then they'll texture it. They're in California, so a lot of spray texture. But it does look nice when you get that tight pull on it. There you go, that was it. So I'm sure you noticed, actually I don't know if you noticed, but I have one little bucket. That orange bucket has the clean water, that white bucket has the dirty water. When you're mixing up the mud, try to use fresh water. So now this is my texture mud. My texture mud in the bucket. It's the Soquet or Soquet. I'm not sure how to say it, but I'll get a couple scoops of it in there. And this was a little thick for this texture, so I did add a little bit of water in it to mix it up. Because with the skip, you want it to be the right consistency so it can skip right. And we're ready to skip. Now, when skipping, you start your hand moving first, then you hit the wall at an angle and you take it down, especially like this, going on the wall. So if you really look at it, I'm moving my hand before I even touch the wall. That's what you want to do. You want to avoid that rough, start line from the skip when you're trying to do this type of skip. The skip I used to do in California was just huge and fat and had no, real rhyme or reason to it. You just kind of skipped your knife along. I did slow this part down. I know got a lot of my Arizona peeps out here watching this, so I want to slow it down for you guys so you can kind of check it out, see how I'm doing it for the whole patch. It's looking pretty good. There's this guy on Instagram, and he just films this like drywall crew out here, and they have this huge ass knife. I don't know how big it is, maybe 24 or 32 inches, I'm not sure, but they'll skip the whole ceilings and walls out with that knife, and it looks crazy, and people in the comments freak out. I remember I was freaking out about it before I even moved here. Skip is crazy. A lot of people hate it. I've grown to like it. Then I'll take my 12 and go through, so I flatten everything out. Try to get rid of all the highs. Then I'll get this bottom one, start at the bottom, same thing going up. If you watch my hand, it's tilting as it goes up to get all the mud off of there. And that's it. Take my sponge, get those little start marks off. Kind of like you would do if you sprayed a, knock down orange peel. Damn, she looks good. Put the texture mud back in the bucket and wash that pan. If you don't stop back and admire your work, then you didn't do a good job, or you just don't care. I appreciate everybody watching, appreciate everybody sticking around. If you stayed till the end, thank you very much. Share it to somebody Share it to somebody who needs to step up their game a little bit. And last but not least, always clean up your mess. This wasn't even from me. If you remember, there was just drywall hanging right there, but I always clean up anyways. Takes a couple seconds, not a big deal. The homeowner always appreciates it. I wanted to get a nice shot of him paying me on this, but he didn't have enough cash, so he Zelled me. But that's alright. So, catch y'all the next time. Peace.